Good afternoon, everyone. This is Cynthia Gwiazda coming to you from the Hagaman Memorial Library. I'm excited to share some new adult fiction with you today that's available at the library to borrow. So without further ado, I will share these with you. I'll talk about these great new fiction titles. So the first book I'd like to talk with you about is called Tomas Nevinson by Javier Marias. Retired spy Tomas Nevinson, once an agent for the British Secret Service, now living a quiet life in his hometown of Madrid, is approached by his former handler, Bertram Chupra, with an offer to bring him back in from the cold for one last assignment. The mission, to go undercover again in a small Spanish town to find out which of three women who moved there a decade ago is in fact a terrorist trained by the IRA, on the run after masterminding several deadly attacks. Everything about the assignment is shadowy, from exactly who is in charge to the question of what justice Nevinson will need to mete out once he unmasks the terrorist. But lured by the appeal of being back on the inside, he accepts the job. Nevinson soon becomes intimately involved with each of the three women. How or whom to choose among them? Under increasing pressure, he must choose and then act. Charting a world in which right and wrong, good and evil are irreparably blurred. Javier Marias takes us on a journey of rare and unforgettable suspense in this, the final novel written before his untimely passing. That's called Tomas Nevinson by Javier Marias. So the next book is called Bad Summer People by Emma Rosenblum. Jen Weinstein and Lauren Parker rule the town of Selcombe, Fire Island, every summer. They hold sway on the beach and the tennis court and are adept at manipulating people to get what they want. Their husbands, Sam and Jason, have summered together on the island since childhood, despite lifelong grudges and numerous secrets. Their one single friend, Rachel Wolf, is looking to meet her match, whether he's the tennis pro or someone else's husband. But even with plenty to gossip about, this season starts out as quietly as any other, until a body is discovered, face down off the side of the boardwalk. None of them would claim to be a particularly good person, but who among them is actually capable of murder? Stylish, subversive, and darkly comedic, this is a story of what's lurking under the surface of picture-perfect lives in a place where everyone has something to hide. This title is also available in our large print collection. And that is called Bad Summer People by Emma Rosenblum. The next book is called The Dog of the North, and that's by Elizabeth Mackenzie. Penny Rush has problems. Her marriage is over. She's quit her job. Her mother and stepfather went missing in the Australian outback 5 years ago, and her mentally unbalanced father provokes her. Her grandmother, Dr. Pincer, keeps experiments in the refrigerator and something worse in the woodshed. But Penny is a virtuoso at what's possible when all else fails. Elizabeth Mackenzie, the National Book Award nominated author of The Portable Veblen, follows Penny on her quest for a fresh start. There will be a road trip in the Dog of the North, an old van with gingham curtains, a piñata, and stiff brakes. There will be injury and peril. There will be a dog named Queecoats and two brothers who may share a toupee. There will be questions. Why is a detective investigating her grandmother? And what is the scintillator? And can Penny recognize a good thing when it finally comes her way? This this slyly humorous, thoroughly winsome novel finds the purpose in life's curveballs, insisting that even when we are painfully warped by those we love most, we can be brought closer to our truest selves. This title is available in our large print collections. That's called The Dog of the North by Elizabeth Mackenzie. The next book is called Queen Charlotte by Julia Quinn and Shonda Rhimes. In 1761, on a sunny day in September, a king and queen met for the very first time. They were married within hours. Born a German princess, Charlotte of Mecklenburg-Strelitz was beautiful, headstrong, and fiercely intelligent. Not precisely the attributes the British court had been seeking in a spouse for the young King George III. But her fire and independence were exactly what she needed, because George had secrets with the potential to shake the very foundations of the monarchy. Thrust into her new role as a royal, Charlotte must learn to navigate the intricate politics of the court, all while guarding her heart, because she is falling in love with the king, even as he pushes her away. Above all, she must learn to rule and to understand that she has been given the power to remake society. She must fight for herself, for her husband, and for all her new subjects who look to her for guidance and grace. For she will never be just Charlotte again. She must instead fulfill her destiny as queen. That's called Queen Charlotte by Julia Quinn and Shonda Rhimes. The next book is called The Little Italian Hotel by Phaedra Patrick. Ginny Splinter, acclaimed radio host and advice expert, prides herself on knowing what's best for others. So she's sure her husband Adrian will love the special trip to Italy she's planned for their 25th wedding anniversary. But when Ginny presents the gift to Adrian, he surprises her with his own very different plan, a divorce. Beside herself with heartache, Ginny impulsively invites four while live on air. From hiking the hills of Bologna to riding a gondola in Venice to sharing stories around the dining table of the little Italian hotel, Ginny and her newfound company embark on a vacation of healing. However, when Adrian starts to rethink their relationship, Ginny must decide whether to commit her marriage or start afresh, alone. And an unexpected stranger may hold the key to a very different future. Sunny, tender, and brimming with charm, the little Italian hotel explores marriage, identity, and reclaiming the present moment, even if it means leaving the past behind. This title is available in our large print collection at the library. It's called The Little Italian Hotel. It's by Phaedra Patrick. The next book is called The Celebrants, and it's by Stephen Rowley. It's been a minute or 5 years since Jordan Vargas last saw his college friends, and 28 years since their graduation when their adult lives officially began. Now Jordan, Jordy, Naomi, Craig, and Marielle find themselves at the brink of a new decade, with all the responsibilities of adulthood, yet no closer to having their lives figured out. Though not for a lack of trying. Over the years, they've reunited in Big Sur to honor a decades-old pact to throw each other living funerals, celebrations to remind themselves that life is worth living, that their lives mean something to one another, if not to themselves. But this reunion is different. They're not gathered as they were to bolster Marielle as her marriage crumbled, to lift Naomi after her parents died, or to intervene when Craig pleaded guilty to art fraud. This time, Jordan is sitting on a secret that will upend their pact. A deeply honest tribute to the growing pains of selfhood and the people who keep us going, coupled with Stephen Rowley's signature humor and heart. The Celebrants is a moving tale about the false invincibility of youth and the beautiful ways in which friendship helps us celebrate our lives, even amid the deepest challenges of living. And this title is available in the library's large print collection. It's called The Celebrants, and it's by Stephen Rowley. The next book is called Lady Tan's Circle of Women, and that's by Lisa C. According to Confucius, quote, an educated woman is a worthless woman, unquote. But Tan Yunzian, born into an elite family, yet haunted by death, separations, and loneliness, is being raised by her grandparents to be of use. Her grandmother is one of only a handful of female doctors in China, and she teaches Yunzian the pillars of Chinese medicine, the four examinations: looking, listening, touching, and asking, something a man can never do with a female patient. From a young age, Yunxian learns about women's illnesses, many of which relate to childbearing. Alongside a young midwife in training, Mealing, the two girls find fast friendship and a mutual purpose, despite the prohibition that a doctor should never touch blood. Well, a midwife comes in frequent contact with it, and they vow to be forever friends, sharing in each other's joys and struggles. No mud, no lotus, they tell themselves. From adversity, beauty can bloom. But when Yunzian is sent into an arranged marriage, her mother-in-law forbids her from seeing Miling and from helping the women and girls in the household. Yunzian is to act like a proper wife, embroider bound foot slippers, pluck instruments, recite poetry, give birth to sons, and stay forever within the walls of the family compound, the garden of fragrant delights. How might a woman like Yunzian break free of these traditions, go on to treat women and girls from every level of society, and lead a life of such importance that many of her remedies are still used 5 centuries later? How might the power of friendship support or complicate these efforts? Lady Tan's Circle of Women is a captivating story of women helping other women. It's also a triumphant reimagining of the life of a woman who was remarkable in the Ming Dynasty and would be considered remarkable today. That's Lady Tan's Circle of Women by Lisa C. The Covenant of Water by Abraham Verghese. The Covenant of Water is the long-awaited new novel by Abraham Verghese, the author of the major word-of-mouth bestseller Cutting for Stone, which has sold over 1.5 million copies in the U.S. alone and remained on the New York Times bestseller list for over 2 years. Spanning the years 1900 to 1977, The Covenant of Water is set in Kerala on South India's Malabar coast and follows 3 generations of a family that suffers a peculiar affliction. In every generation, at least one person dies by drowning. And in Kerala, water is everywhere. At the turn of the century, a 12-year-old girl from Kerala's long-existing Christian community, grieving the death of her father, is sent by boat to her wedding, where she will meet her 40-year-old husband for the first time. From this unforgettable new beginning, the young girl and future matriarch, known as Big Amachi, will witness unthinkable changes over the span of her extraordinary life, full of joy and triumph as well as hardship and loss. Her faith and love, the only constants. A shimmering evocation of a bygone India and the passage of time itself. The Covenant of Water on Oprah's book club pick is a hymn to progress in medicine, to human understanding, and a humbling testament to the difficulties undergone by past generations for the sake of those alive today. It is one of the most masterful literary novels published in recent years. That's The Covenant of Water by Abraham Verghese. So thank you very much for listening, tuning in today for our book talk. And please follow Hagaman Library online for continued recommendations and also to learn about upcoming library events. Our handles are on Facebook and Twitter are at Hagaman Library, Instagram at Hagaman_East Haven. Please let us know in the comments what's made your to be read list and what you're currently reading. Thank you again for joining me this afternoon to talk about our great new titles and adult fiction. And I look forward to coming back to you next month with another great list of new fiction titles. So happy July, and thank you very much for joining me.